Hey Taurus. I've been under the weather and I've been meaning to do your reading, but I had to wait because I need patience for you. Why do I need patience for you? Well, I want to have patience for you is what I should say. All information to work with me one-on-one is below. A lot of cards just fell out, so I just want to get that information out of the way, as well as the extended readings, which will be on Patreon as well, and that will be in the link below as well. Okay? So the first card out, patience, contemplation, thoughts. You are realizing what you now know, what you've learned, what you've gained from any failure, mistake, and how those can become the fruits, how those can turn into the positives of what you are capable of. You're realizing that the more you sit with this, the more you learn, the more you understand that you've gained so much awareness and knowledge, and so much has been brought to your attention, especially through the terms of understanding what tradition means to you, understanding what values you have and how you've been exposed to these things due to how you've been raised, how you were brought up, but also what you subconsciously believe. Notice what's coming into your life and what comes into your life, and notice where you limit yourself. Of course, there's reality, and we always need to look at reality, but there is a limitation that you may have found I want to say loophole, but you found how it takes your power away, and you're learning how to take its power back. There could also be someone in your life who has been an aid to this, and it's someone that's stable and secure, someone who's very aware, someone you may have even met last month, or your relationship grew even more in the past month or so. There's this understanding of how things have gone, and it's not that you don't want tradition in your life as well, but you're finding a way to value what you grew up with, maybe whatever your background is, meaning your ethnicity, whatever it is that whatever you cherish, whatever you value, and whatever it is that you specifically, sorry, my kitty just joined us, specifically want to start in terms of new traditions, in terms of what is important to you. It doesn't have to be literal traditions, but just think of like things that are, again, more important to you than maybe to people that you grew up with, or even your family. Sorry about that. So this is causing you to really see where it is that you can find both the balance of having stability and having some fun, and yet also growing all at the same time. The kitty. This is going to be even more exposed and brought to your attention in ways in which where you may need to speak up for these needs. You may need to go out on a limb and really find it in yourself to be honest with, and go even head to head with these old beliefs, because you're so loyal, because it's so ingrained in you to be someone who is not, you're not a Libra, you're not the one always trying to keep the peace, or to an extent, but you are someone who likes things to, you like to find the ease with things. But over the past few years, you've learned to speak up and and notice that like turbulence means that there can be an even greater resolution, and know that people need to get uncomfortable, right? We now know that being a people pleaser is a very negative form of selfishness, because you're only protecting yourself. And maybe it was, if you do associate with that at all, maybe it was something that was just a survival tactic at one point. But now you're realizing how much you can own these parts of you, and your ego that's for your benefit. It might be going out on a limb, but that risk is only going to lead you to even more than you can imagine, even more prosperity, opportunity, and more than anything, freedom within yourself, freedom outside of yourself. Maybe there's a part of you that you don't expose enough, and yet you're wondering why people don't maybe know you that well or understand you, or whatever it is, that you're finding this misconception or miscommunication or this interesting perception that people have with you. And now you're realizing that it's a part of how you've trained people to view you, right? It's also not up to you what their opinion is. It's nothing to do with you what their opinion is of you. But for people that you consider, friends, family, or close people in your life, or even the people that you work with, their perception matters to an extent, right? There needs to be integrity there. And you're someone who, of course, has the utmost of integrity. But there could be people in your life who have wanted to see you fall and not see you move forward. But now we're coming into a time where you're going to be able to make strides forward in a way that, regardless of how they feel and think, it can't even touch you, right? Jupiter may be retrograde in your sign. We'll get more into that into the second part. But it just means that things are going to move at a pace that you actually like. And if you find that you're trying to force something or force any other direction, it's not the time. There's a strong sense of wanting stability right now. And we'll get more into the bottom of the deck in the second part. But there's a strong sense of stability. And you can't look past that. You can still have stability while having freedom, while having all these other things that you want. You have ideas you want to put into play that become physical, that become a monetary production. It basically brings you in money. It becomes something where you can receive. But it's really, this month is about standing in your power. Anyone who challenges you, whether it's a family member, again, a close person, it's just, you're standing in who you are now. And you're not bending to anyone else's way of doing things unless it makes sense for you. Because you're looking out for yourself. You're looking out for if you are building a family. And the connections and the connection that you have with life right now, this communication that's going on with life right now is very quick, right? We want to say retrogrades makes things slower, but for some of us, it gives us the opportunity to take a step back, even though we're in the very detailed season of Virgo. It's not putting any pressure, overpowering you. You're used to the details. It's not something that you're unaware of. Some people get so frustrated or get so caught up this season because they're not used to looking at the fine tuning, but you are. So this season's no problem for you. This season just is literally fine tuning, smoothing out any rough edges that have happened, and is going to help you continue to smooth those out, because there are some things to smooth out here. You may come across more demanding than normal, as if you have more power, more authority than you normally do. And guess what? It's because it's within you, because you're finding not only the power of the throat, which is ruled by Taurus, but you're finding that there is luck that comes with that. That it's a few steps, it may not be right next to you, but it's a few steps down the road. It's a couple months down the road. And it's helping build this identity that you are lucky, that things do happen for you to understand and acknowledge, because every time you do that, you acquire more information and knowledge about how other people work. And whether you like it or not, you need to know that. You can't be naive to the people around you, maybe your competition, or people who don't want to see you win, because those haters are always out there. It's about you looking forward with this self-sufficient, self-powered, self-made person who has the utmost integrity, again, what is your integrity to? That's a question you have to answer. And that's why you're seeing traditions for what they are. You're seeing maybe where they even stem from, the lineage in which they come from, and the reason why you may want to change things up because it just doesn't make sense for you. That certain things do have value, but other things you realize, like, there's really nothing that holds them up. There's no foundation in their structure. And you have so much foundation in your structure that going into these places, this is where it can get kind of tricky for you, because you do like when things are cohesive. It makes a large impact, but you make an impact. And it's okay if things change, and it's okay to grieve those things. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. You know that already, and you're going to continue to know that, but I always want you to feel okay with that with the next few years, because it can be uncomfortable in times where you aren't used to being seen or noticed or even heard. And now, and moving forward, it's not that you have opportunities, it's just that you are. And you kind of, now you're beginning, you're beginning to command that with your presence, especially if it's to do with your relationship dynamics moving forward. It's really important to start, if you haven't started that communication now, of like, you know, because you internally know, there's an internal knowing that you have about your future. And if the people around you who are really close to you aren't in on that, then they may have a hard time understanding. So at least those people, you know, you can give somewhat of a notice to, or somewhat of like a preface to, hey, listen. And maybe you're just realizing it now, and maybe you're understanding that this is what you need now, so now you're presenting it. And this season, it's preparing you for this road for the next year and a half or so, and how you can be, and I'm going to talk more about this in Libra season, but how you can be not always chasing something, but ahead of it. And how it's just about learning where it comes from for you to always want to chase something. I'm not opposed to the word hustler, but we've talked about this many times. You're someone who can really just be receptive, knows what they want, and be receptive and open to these opportunities that just kind of just fall in your path. But they're not just falling in your path and some of them are out of luck, but a lot of times it's because you set yourself up for it, and that's what people don't understand. All right, Taurus, just be you, and you'll have no problems. Whoever that is, and whoever it is you're becoming. We'll get more into the second part, and I'll see you next month.